This is Access Tech Live, a CES special with Stephen Scott and Marc Aflalo. The latest in tech and accessibility. Follow us now and get involved at Access Tech Live.
To a very special edition of Access Tech Live, and a very happy new year to you as well if you're joining us for the first time in 2024. It is great to be here. I am Stephen Scott. I have Marc Aflalo by my side as he is every week. Hello, happy new year to you, Marc.
Oh, thank you. Happy New Year to you as well. Super excited to be here on a Wednesday, Stephen. This is just a little bit peculiar, but we're going to go with it.
Oh, it's fantastic. I am so excited about this because we are here 2 days this week for two special hour-long specials, as they are, all about CES in Las Vegas, where, frankly, every technology show that's worth its salt should be.
That is exactly it. And, you know, CES is the world's largest consumer electronics trade show. It sees over 130,000 attendees, 4,000 plus. I think it was 4,300 the last time I saw a report yesterday. Exhibitors are there every year. It is absolutely massive. It actually, it overflows into hotels that are nearby in Las Vegas. It's insane. And, you know, Stephen, we couldn't include all our coverage in just one show. Oh, no. It's so big that we are doing two live shows back to back today and tomorrow at 12 Eastern. It's going to be a blast.
Yeah, and of course, we can't even cram it all into that, can we? I mean, we're going to have lots of highlights to share over the weeks to come.
Yeah, this is a conversation that really goes on for months, quite honestly, if not years. Sometimes we see technology emerge today, and we wonder when it's going to actually hit consumer hands. But, you know, Stephen, you and I aren't physically in Las Vegas, if you haven't noticed that quite just yet. We are in our studios, you in Glasgow, me in Montreal, but we do have a small team on site and standing by. Tim is there, as is Dave, and they've got an amazing lineup of guests ready and standing by to talk to us all about assistive tech trends.
Absolutely. And we're going to dive right in and bring you straight to the CES show floor where Keri Haresign, the Senior Director of Technology and Standards at the Consumer Technology Association, the company that puts CES together every year, is standing by. Keri, thank you for joining us on Access Tech Live.
Good morning. I'm so happy to be here.
Keri, 130,000 attendees, 4,000 plus exhibitors, representatives from almost every country in the world. Those are incredible numbers. And for the benefit of our audience, maybe you could tell us what CES is all about and what you attribute to its success every year.
Yeah, and we can't forget 2.5 million net square feet because that number is just absolutely staggering. I'm pretty sure you couldn't even walk the whole,
I will tell you, I've walked
whole show floor if you wanted to do that. But we are just so excited because this is tech. This is tech. This is the globe coming together. I love, well, I wish you guys were here with us in Las Vegas. It's kind of amazing that we're able to connect in this way all over the globe. And really what we're seeing here at the show is just energy and excitement. The show floor is just about to open here behind me, so you might start to see some of that amazing traffic. And we're seeing just incredible themes here this year around AI, digital health, accessibility, and you know, we're talking about accessibility, and I think just the way that technology can do things for good is a prevalent theme here at the show.
And Keri, that's why we exist. You know, that's why this show exists, to talk about those things and give them a little bit of a spotlight. Now, as you mentioned, we talk about a lot, accessibility. You know, among the big tech companies is definitely there. I'm wondering what new assistive tech has got everyone buzzing at this year's show. I know we're officially only open to consumers today and to the public today, but it's been a couple of days of, you know, little previews. Anything that caught your attention?
Well, personally, I'm really excited about all the hearing technology that we have here at CES. For those that may be unaware, over-the-counter hearing aids is a brand new category here in the U.S., and we saw our first FDA-cleared devices here at the show last year, and now hearing health is everywhere. And it's been amazing to talk to advocates, to technology companies, just thinking about how we can think about our hearing as a part of our whole health and the ways that technology is really improving the experience, not just for those who have, you know, severe hearing loss, but really for all of us, because I hate to say it, but we all are getting older, as hard as that might be to accept, and that has a strong impact on our hearing and our health overall.
You know, Keri, it's interesting to me because accessibility has, for a long time, as someone who's blind, you know, has always been one of those things where it feels like it's kind of zoned off in the corner. It's the cousin no one wants to talk to at the back of the room. And actually, that's changed considerably in the last few years. And I guess, like you say, I mean, with all the hearing technology, there's lots of visually impaired tech there as well, lots of mobility tech, and of course, health tech being a major focus of CES this year.
Absolutely. Health tech is growing in leaps and bounds here at CES, and we have an entire digital health summit here at the show this year, where we're really able to bring together advocates from the accessibility community, technology companies, practitioners, you know, the folks that actually help us from day to day to talk about what else can tech do and how we can be inclusive in our design to leverage all of this amazing technology for all of those who need it. And of course, AI is underpinning all of that conversation.
Kerri, as someone who heads up standards for the CTA, well, what exactly does that mean when it comes to accessibility in tech in general?
Yeah, so CTA, Consumer Technology Association, we're an ANSI accredited standards developer. We have 130 standards in our portfolio, and accessible tech has been at the core of that. As we are actually here celebrating CTA's 100th anniversary as well. One of the standards we're most well known for is closed captioning, and we know that the impact that has on the accessibility community. But really what we strive to do is what I like to call standardization for innovation, and make sure that we have inclusive standards, inclusive design. We're thinking about things like equity, diversity, access to technology, and that we're setting those industry best practices. So all of these amazing companies that are here with us in Las Vegas can innovate and expand beyond that.
Now, look, I want to talk to you about accessibility all day long, but, you know, even I'm interested in all the celebrities that might show up at CES. Have you spotted any so far? I want to know names, Kerri. Come on.
Well, I've heard a few. I've gotten a few text messages from my colleagues this morning about folks that have been roaming around here in the show. And I do believe we have an official press release of those that are here on our website. But I believe Martha Stewart was here yesterday. Folks might have seen the coverage of that. I heard that from my family back home. But also, we're really excited to welcome a bunch of government guests. Today, we actually have the FDA commissioner is going to be joining us to have a great conversation as a part of our conversation with the Commissioner Series, and get to see some of the technology in real time here at the show. And obviously, that's just such an incredible opportunity. But we'll keep on celebrity watch for you all and see.
Well, I appreciate that. You can be a paparazzi on site.
Yeah, you know, absolutely.
It's fun to not only see the technology on site, but also all the panels and everything that goes along with CES. It's an opportunity for people to share their wisdom and connect and network, which is always fun. Which is why we're kind of jealous that we're not there. But we've got to rotate this every couple of years and make sure that we can balance, you know, sanity with actually being there. Kerri, before we let you go, I got to ask you a quick question, which is, you know, from your point of view as someone who manages standards and works in this space all year long, what can we do together to keep promoting accessibility across the industry and make sure that conversation doesn't end up like that awkward cousin in the corner?
Oh, absolutely. That's such a great question. And I think it's really, as you mentioned, the networking and connections that we do here at CES, but that CTA, the Consumer Technology Association, does year-round. One of the biggest things about getting folks together is you really get folks with diverse perspectives. And I think once we start listening to each other and hearing about the various needs, then it really kind of goes to integrating into the products. And again, I think AI is going to be an absolutely amazing and integral tool for really broader inclusive design moving forward.
Kerri, thank you so much for joining us here on Access Tech Live, on our live special from CES. Thank you so much, and have a great day, have a great week. I can only imagine how sore your feet will be by the end of it.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's an absolute pleasure, and we hope to see you at CES 2025, and maybe we can do this again together in person.
Yeah. Thanks, Kerri. And hopefully we'll talk again before then as well. After a quick break, a device that helps people with Parkinson's reduce tremors, and later the future of smart seating. We speak to Calagon and GyroGlove as our Access Tech Live CES special returns in a moment.
This is Access Tech Live CES special. Follow us on social media at Access Tech Live. We'll be right back. Now, back to Access Tech Live, a CES special. The latest in tech and accessibility with Stephen Scott and Marc Aflalo.
Yes, we're back on our CES special with myself, Stephen Scott, and Marc Aflalo. Now, Marc, I know we're not physically in Las Vegas ourselves, and I have to say my feet are thankful, but I am feeling the buzz of the show floor. I can hear it in my ears. It is an incredible place to be.
Well, that's excellent because, we've got a guest standing by who's going to bring more of that buzz to us, and I'm super excited to chat with him. But first, before I get into that, Stephen, I got to tell you about some exhibitors and products that we won't have a chance to mention here because there is so much news that comes out of CES, whether it's on the product or service lineup. I've seen press conferences from the Samsungs of the world, the Sonys of the world. But there's a company called Xander with an X, Xander, who have these glasses that you put on, and they actually do live real-time captions in your own native language over your actual world and environment, which is so cool. We've seen a smart mirror by a company named Neurologics that can read vital signs and medical health risks. So you can wake up in the morning, look at the mirror, and find out that, things might be wrong, whether you want to or not. And there's a company called ClearSense that I hope to chat with, honestly, in the near future. They've got an app for hearing assistance. So many cool things that come out of CES every single year.
Yeah, and that's just to name a few, right? But now we're joined by Dr. Faii Ong, the founder of GyroGear and the inventor of the GyroGlove, which is a wearable piece of technology for people with Parkinson's. Dr. Ong, thank you so much for coming on to Access Tech Live. Tell us about the GyroGlove and what inspired its invention.
Sure. Good morning, guys. So basically what we have here is the world's most advanced hand stabilizer. And this is the GyroGlove for 200 million people around the world with Parkinson's disease and essential tremor. And this morning, I'm joined very warmly by Roberta. She's come all the way down from Canada to join us. And Roberta has advanced Parkinson's, and she's actually wearing one of our products, actually. So again, just to illustrate what we do. So it all started with a 103-year-old lady at the back of a London hospital. So I read medicine at Imperial College, and I came across this lady who had, tomato soup just covered down her front. And I asked. I was I was part of the medical team. We spent half an hour cleaning her up, and I asked nurses, why didn't you do anything about it? And they said, she's 103, forgets your name in 2 minutes, medications doesn't always work. And what else do you want us to do? Then I asked the nurses, why did you keep serving soup for her? And they said that's the only thing on the menu she could eat without choking on. So that's how we came up with the GyroGlove.
How does the glove actually work to counteract the tremors? Because I can only imagine that every single person is a little bit unique in terms of their experiences. So how does it actually counteract what it's experiencing?
All right, so basically what you have inside is a high-performance gyroscope. And that gyroscope spins about 4 times the speed of a jet turbine. But however, in terms of concept, it works exactly like a child's top. So for the top, as with a child's top, whether you push it very gently or very firmly, it always seeks to return to its original position. And similarly, whether you have a mild tremor or a very severe tremor, what it does is that it actually allows, it counteracts those tremors and allows your hands to regain the stability. So let's have a look.
Should have seen me trying to pour coffee without the glove this
morning. Oh, okay.
Well, what does that experience feel like? Are you feeling sensations in your hand? What is it like to wear it?
It's a very mild vibration in the back of my hand. As the day goes on, I don't even notice it. It's an easy equipment piece to wear.
Were you amazed the first time you put that on? I can only imagine that, What was it like? What was that experience like?
Shocked. I couldn't believe it. I put it on, I took it off, and I put it back on again because I couldn't believe that it would eliminate my tremor. And depending on where my tremor's at that day, some days it'll totally take it away. Some days it just takes it down so I can function easier with it. But yeah, for me, it's life-changing.
And let me
break in here and just describe the glove for a second for those. Obviously, it looks like, there's a glove, the front part that goes over your hand and wraps around your fingers. Yeah. There's the gyroscope itself is this almost like a ball, like a dial on the top, and it extends down to the forearm a bit with the little control panel. I'm guessing that's what's doing all the computing power, right?
That's the battery.
Yes, that's the battery pack, and it has an advanced sort of electronics package, but that will be reserved for the next generation.
I want to ask you both this question because I think you'll both have very different perspectives on this. But one of the great benefits here is that it's non-invasive and it's not medicine because you'll know yourself. You probably take quite a bit of Parkinson's medication, I'm sure, and you probably don't want to take another tablet, another piece of or another tablet.
No. My regime is medication every 3 hours at this point in my Parkinson's. At this point, it doesn't eliminate my medication. This isn't a cure for my Parkinson's, but it gives me back some of the freedom in my life. It gives me back some autonomy. It lets me lead my old life the way I used to live it without always having to negotiate my tremor around what I want to do.
And Dr. Faii Ong, maybe you want to react to that as well from a non-medical perspective?
Sure. So I think that, for example, like in Roberta's case as well, right? Her search has, how would you describe your search in terms of how you try to find things for you?
It's hard. There's not a lot of things on the market that will make my day easier. And this makes my day a lot easier. Things that you would take for granted, I don't take for granted. I don't take for granted making a cup of coffee in the morning or wondering what I'll be able to eat for breakfast because my hand is shaking or whether I need to button up a blouse or put on a sweater.
Yeah, but Roberta, I think it's really important that you make that distinction between the medication you take and this device. This is an assistive device which helps you, but it's not a replacement for. And I think that's really important to say at this stage.
No.
Because people can very quickly think, oh, great, I can get rid of all my medication. No, definitely not.
No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But as you advance in your Parkinson's, quite often medication does not work as efficiently. And so this is an option to continue me on the process and make life more livable for me.
Absolutely.
Roberta, it's also, and Dr. Phil, this is, it's a ray of light to people who have been diagnosed with Parkinson's who might wonder what the future might be like for them. To see devices like this come to market are absolutely insane. I saw a video yesterday, and this must have been quite the experience with Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella walking over to see the glove for the first time.
Absolutely.
What was that like?
So Mr. Nadella came over. He had just completed the big keynote for the conference, and he had taken a couple of minutes just to walk the hall because there were several startups that interested him, especially on the sort of health tech side and also on the AI and med tech side of things. So those are one of the sort of big topics we talked about yesterday.
The one question that has to be asked is when is this available?
Yes,
and does this require? Although we're saying it's not medical, does it require any medical clearances to be made available?
All right. So actually, this actually is a medical advice, and so it's US FDA Class 1 registered already, and Australian TGA Class 1 registered as well. And of course, we'll be coming to major markets, internationally as soon as we can. And I think more importantly, this is actually available right now for anyone to purchase over the on our website at gyrogear.co. It's gyrogear.co.
That's amazing. Roberta, thank you for joining the doctor. Thank you both for being there at CES with us. It's a pleasure to chat with you, and I'm so glad that we had a chance to hear that firsthand perspective as well. Coming up on this CES special, we're going to be talking about the future of smart seating. The CEO of Calagon is determined to disrupt the wheelchair industry, and he is coming up next here on our CES special. This is Access Tech Live.
This is Access Tech Live, CES Special. Follow us on social media at Access Tech Live. We'll be right back. Now, back to Access Tech Live, a CES Special. The latest in tech and accessibility with Stephen Scott and Marc Aflalo.
We're back on our CES special with the CEO and co-founder of Kalogon, a company that is set out to disrupt the wheelchair industry with a cushion that's completely customizable by its user. But how? This is an incredible piece of technology by the sounds of it. Tim Baltz, I'm so glad that you're here with us because we need to know more. Tell us about Calagon and your cushion.
Yeah, so thanks so much for having me. So Calagon, we do smart seating. So we've started in the wheelchair market where we've created a cushion that when you sit down, it'll detect your body and it'll automatically tune to you. So it'll change to match the curvature of your body. But it also, a clinician can take an app and actually tune and adjust the cushion based on exactly what seating that individual needs.
Tim, you're quoted as saying that you want to disrupt the wheelchair industry, and I love that statement. I'm curious where all this began. Where does your story start?
Yeah, so back in high school, I actually founded a nonprofit where I would refurbish electric wheelchairs and give them away. And so that's kind of where I started learning about the technology and learning about all these unmet needs. And so from there, just a long journey that got me here, everything from designing wheelchairs to even getting to do some work that was recognized by Stephen Hawking, and then left SpaceX to start this company to solve the problems of seating.
Now, Tim, you've got the cushion there with you. Can you perhaps show us it and maybe give us a bit of an audio description of it? I'm blind, so if you can describe it for me, please, that would be helpful. Just to give us a sense of what this device is.
Yeah, so this is one of the versions of our products. This is actually the one that we do with the Air Force, but it uses the same technology that we use for the wheelchair market. Most of them are about 18 inches by 18 inches. They're about 3.5 inches tall. It's got a black cover on it with blue accents down the side, and it looks just like a normal wheelchair cushion on the outside, but on the inside it's so much more. We've got these electronics and these air bladders that work in unison with the foam to give you that customized seating experience.
So, Tim, you mentioned a clinician customizing it for somebody, but is the intention for somebody to be able to control it themselves and actually tweak it as they need throughout a day, for example?
Absolutely. So it really all depends on the individual's, the cognitive function the individual has. So for a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll have different profiles for different activities. So if you're eating, for example, you might want the cushion to kind of lift up on the back so that when you're leaning forward, it still supports you well. And that's where with the app, if the clinician sets it up, you can have as many different settings as you want. And with one click of the button, you get a completely different seating experience.
Tim, it sounds very interesting, and I love the idea of being able to customize this. Have you had any chance to get feedback from users at this stage to be able to get a sense of how this product is going in the real world?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've got hundreds of these cushions in the field. We've sold to over 40 VA hospitals. The product itself was really developed in partnership with customers and clinicians. So every iteration we did, we were getting as much feedback as possible so that we would build what was right, not what our engineers thought someone might want.
And of course, Tim, there's a market here beyond people who are in wheelchairs, right? I mean, there are lots of people who may sit around at home or sit in an office all day, for example, who, again, think about someone who works in a call center, for example, might be sitting in a chair for 8 hours solid. This could be something that could be really useful. And I think the benefit, as I often think about it, is the more mainstream these products can become, then that price point can start to come down and make it more accessible to more people. Is that in your mind?
Oh, absolutely. That's really the thought process here is we bring the best of technology to people with disabilities, but we do it so well that it can drive value to anyone. And along this line, we actually just released the data from our inaugural seating and sitting survey, where we actually found that more than 50% of people in the US are sitting for 8 hours a day for things like their jobs or for one reason or another. And that's where once we can start addressing those markets, we can truly bring down the cost for everyone.
Tim, you've worked with companies, as you said, like SpaceX, and that's where you actually credit your learning of how to disrupt an industry. Do you feel that you've achieved that with this product?
I think we're well on our way. I think Calagon is clearly the technology leader, but we're still on our way to become the market leader in wheelchair seating specifically. And so, that's a whole different challenge. So we've disrupted in terms of what the state of the art is, but we haven't yet managed to get it where we can make it accessible to everyone who needs our tech. So along with that, we actually just started shipping today a second product that leverages our technology that can actually plug into some of the more affordable wheelchair cushions on the market and resolve some of the safety issues with them. And so really, we're on step 2 of a 3 or 4 step plan to be able to make a product for every single person who utilizes a wheelchair.
Can you describe that other product and tell us how it actually works?
Yeah, so what I've got here, I'm holding a device. It's a little bit bigger than a deck of cards. What it does is it plugs into these air cushions that are very, very common on the marketplace. So these air cushions, you have to set the pressure just right. And per the manual on those cushions, every single day a clinician has to put 2 fingers under your butt to feel if it's at the right pressure. So that's really hard to maintain. And if you get a leak, it becomes very dangerous very quickly. So our device plugs in and utilizes our existing air pressure control technology to maintain that pressure and ensure that you don't have to every day worry about your cushion being at incorrect settings and possibly causing a life-threatening condition like a pressure injury.
So you mentioned that this is something that could be almost retrofitted onto existing wheelchair cushions, and of course you've got this new cushion coming out. What price are we talking here? What are people expected to pay for both your products? So this one is one that will attach to just about any cushion in the marketplace. So this one is in the $400 range, which is about what people are paying for those other air cushions, but it lasts significantly longer than those cushions. So it's really quite a great buy on this product. For our other higher end cushions, those ones are actually made to order for the customer. So it depends on what kind of condition they have and what kind of special features they need in terms of what the final price point is for that one. Tim, I just want to ask you one more from me, and that is about the mainstream tech media response to products like yours. You know, here at Access Tech Live, we pride ourselves on talking about disability and accessibility and technology as much as possible. What kind of mainstream tech media reaction do you get from a product like yours?
I mean, what's really exciting is a lot of people immediately understand how far-reaching the potential for this technology is. You know, initially when we were just talking about just the wheelchair market, before we had proof points of our technology in other markets, you know, we were able to get some coverage, but it wasn't nearly as significant. Like, we've gotten TechCrunch and Forbes, but what's really exciting is as people realize that this technology can truly benefit anyone who sits, it almost magnifies the response that we've been able to get here recently.
Tim, so what's next for you guys before we let you go here? What's on the horizon for 2024 for Calagon?
So we have multiple new products that we're really excited about. I can't share all of them yet, but what I do have here is a product that we have just completed our first contract and gotten a follow-on contract with the U.S. Air Force. So think about pilots who have to sit for sometimes 30-hour missions. That is so hard on their bodies, and it's so difficult for them to be effective. So this product here is one that we've been testing for over a year with our partners at the Air Force. And what's amazing is the technology, some of the things we've developed and new technology we've deployed into this, we've already been able to redeploy those and actually benefit disabled veterans. So I just think that's so cool that in this past year we've gotten this new product, and the learnings from it, from deploying it, are already benefiting end users, you know, who have disabilities. So that's really exciting to me.
Now, listen, I can see the use case just sitting here doing a show once a week, let alone being in a cockpit of a plane. Thank you so much for taking the time to showcase the tech. Congratulations to all your success. We hope to follow up with you, obviously, in a couple months and see what's new with you, with the company as it evolves.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Coming up, guys, a company whose goal is to promote safe and independent outdoor mobility for blind and partially sighted people. We'll learn about Lighthouse Tech after a quick break on the Access Tech Live CES special.
This is Access Tech Live CES special. Follow us on social media at Access Tech Live. We'll be right back. Now, back to Access Tech Live, a CES special. The latest in tech and accessibility with Stephen Scott and Marc Aflalo.
Hey guys, welcome back to Access Tech Live. We're back on our CES special. I am Stephen Scott, Marc Aflalo is with me, and Marc, you know, in case people are tuning in and thinking something's gone wrong on AMI TV today, because Stephen and Marc are on, and it's not Thursday. What is going on? This is deliberate, I can promise you.
It is deliberate. We're here because CES, the biggest consumer electronics show, is on right now in Las Vegas, and we need to bring you everything that's coming from there. And you know what? Even this show today and our regular time tomorrow is not going to be able to cover all the announcements that are coming out of CES, and that's kind of bumming, but it's okay. We'll get through it, Stephen. Before we go to our next guest, I want to throw out a couple of honorable mentions, and these are companies that I hope to talk to down the road in a couple months, maybe even a couple weeks, and companies that we just couldn't get on to these two shows. There's a company called Age Impulse that's tackling fall prevention among the elderly with a technology that also helps strengthen the user. Elios is another company that's enhancing accessibility with a communication service for businesses and local authorities to streamline interaction with people who are deaf or hard of hearing. So, I mean, the announcements are so many. It's almost like, when your email inbox goes nuts and you can't even keep up with the email that you got 2 hours ago. This is what CES is like for us, tech heads here, but it's fun. This is all part of the game, Steven.
Yeah, we're having lots of fun on this special and, of course, on our next special and beyond, because we'll be talking about this for weeks to come. One company I am so glad to join us back here on Access Tech Live, actually used to be with us and came on one of our CES specials, I think it was back in 2021, is a company called Lighthouse Tech. A company whose smart glasses are designed to give people with low vision a safe and independent experience when navigating outdoors. As a blind guy who bumps into many things on a regular basis, this is something I'm very, very excited to learn more about and find out about the continuing development of. Nathan Deutsch is the COO and innovation lead and joins us now from the CES show floor in Las Vegas. Nathan, welcome back to Access Tech Live. And how has your CES been thus far?
Hi, great. Thanks for having me back. Just a quick correction. It was last year, actually, so I remember it like yesterday because I'm back in CES, and it's like, it's gigantic. It's been one day, and I'm already exhausted, but, you know, it's like through the roof. You know, it's Las Vegas, and it's CES, so what can I say? No, but it's been very good. We're really looking for market entry in the summer, so very close, and we're showing a prototype here, so it's just nonstop.
Yeah, I can imagine. And you know, you say you've got the prototype there. So last time we spoke, one of the things you were talking to me about was the design of these glasses, that you wanted them to be as fashionable as possible, as cool as possible, as light as possible. So maybe tell us a little bit about what you've done since last year, not 2 years ago as I first thought.
Okay, so I have, this is a 3D printed prototype again, but we've made some improvements mainly on the internals and the interactivity. The glasses themselves have sort of remained as is. One thing that we've sort of dropped for now is that, so what we're doing is detecting obstacles in front of the user. The sensors can go quite far, but you know, we'll dynamically adjust depending on what people need. One thing that people have told us is that they really want all of this sort of in a compact, fashionable and contained product. So we're not focusing right now on putting vibrating receptors or other things elsewhere on the body. We're just really doing left-right field and left-right vibration, and those are going to, the vibration is going to be on the temple itself. And just when I say vibration, if you think of the sort of the button that you tap on your iPhone, you get that clicking sensation. That's really what we're going for, because having something vibrate on your head, let's say our 50-odd testers that we talked to in the last year didn't exactly appreciate that, but what we've come up with is a system where we have basically sort of one of those iPhone type feelings, that clicky feeling in contact with your head behind the ear, in a place where you can sort of feel what's coming your way, and that click increases in frequency then at a threshold where you're, you know, approaching something dangerous.
So you're getting that feeling because you're touching the temple there, so that's kind of where that's coming from. So that's interesting. But I want to just rewind a little bit here, because I think when people hear smart glasses, they think about, you know, these days it's the Meta Ray-Ban everyone's talking about, which is the camera and the audio and all of this. But this is a smart glass with a difference, right? Because this is focused on one particular goal. And tell me if that's changed since last time we spoke. But I remember when we talked about this, you said the key here was to help someone navigate. So for someone who doesn't live in this world, who doesn't understand how glasses could help someone navigate, can you just maybe give us a bit more detail on how these glasses work to enable someone like me to get around more safely?
Sure. So we initially started out thinking, you know, safety is our, you know, our proposition is really around safety, getting around, and we want to make sure that the upper body zone is fully protected. We started talking to blind associations actually before 2020, so this has a bit of a history, but the idea was not to do away with any kind of other assistive devices like the white cane or aids like the guide dog, but simply to complement them for the upper body zone. What we've started to find around testing is that there are all kinds of scenarios where maybe the white cane misses something, where you're getting into an area where there's people moving around, where you might want to get a sense of your surroundings that sort of augments the existing technology that you have, or the existing aids that you have. What we try to do that's a little bit unique, I guess, is give this left-right feedback, and that really helps people understand the device quite quickly. So we aim at a standalone device that can be used by people who may experience sight loss later in life as well, who need a little bit of extra help with the orientation, mobility, progress, and training.
And Nathan, we're showing some B-roll on the screen with various users using the actual glasses. And what's cool about it is that they're still using their white cane, but the white cane obviously can't, hit a sign that's in front of them, can't actually hit that, so they don't know it's there. So the glasses really do complement that experience. What has the feedback been from users? Have a lot of people had a chance to test these out? What they've been telling you?
Yeah, so we've been, we're testing sort of in an ongoing way, but the tests that we've done so far are largely sort of controlled. We actually went out and built a cardboard obstacle maze with obstacles that we could move around, and tested that with roughly 50 people, mostly in Europe. But we were lucky enough to be present in Japan this year. We got some early funding through Toyota Mobility Foundation, so that was pretty important for us, and we were able to validate the product and test it out also in Japan. The early feedback is yes, we sort of we want to have something that is standalone and light and fashionable, so those got ticked right away, and the refinement really has to do with getting something that is customizable in terms of the fit and the feeling, so that people can really sort of, feel like they're using a very nicely put together assistive device, not something that's clunky and you have to just adapt to. We want it to be, we come out of it's an eyewear industry spinoff, so the assistive tech stuff we had to sort of build from the ground up in partnership with blind associations, but the technology and the putting the eyewear together is sort of where our founders like to sort of fly their flag.
It's often difficult, Nathan, isn't it? Because you're trying to develop a product which you can get to market and make it available to as many people as possible at a good price point and all of that. But you're kind of also having to deal with the constant requirement of getting that feedback from users, implementing those changes in, because this product has to work. How close are you to being able to release this, do you think?
Yeah, so pretty close. We have a couple of quick R&D cycles left, just in terms of putting the prototype together. And then we're going to be available in the summer. It's going to be a smallish production run, but we'll start to sell right away. We're based in Switzerland, so we're going to start to do pre-sales before the summer in our local area. So for us, it's Switzerland, Italy, mostly those countries, Germany, France as well. But that doesn't mean we haven't been over in North America as well. So we're expecting to roll out there shortly after. I can't give you an exact date, but because it will depend on the rollout and any kind of problems we run into with our first adopters in Europe. But I would say expect us here in late 2024 or early 2025.
Okay, we'll get to price in a moment, because I want to know what roughly you're thinking in terms of price, if you can tell us. But I'm also intrigued to know, because we talk so much about smart glasses now, and this product is coming in at a time when more smart glasses are coming out, with cameras, with microphones, with speakers in them, for fashion, for running, for all kinds of mainstream reasons, which of course have a huge impact on us in the disability community as well. Are you tempted to go down that same route with these, to make them an all-in-one product that do a lot more than just navigation, or is the navigation the key focus for you?
Yeah, so I would say we're very tempted. The temptation has been huge. I think as a company, we've really sort of had to maintain a focus on obstacle detection. It's sort of a non-trivial issue to figure that out well. So we're trying to really miniaturize and get our technology together for the obstacle detection part of this first. But then seeing as there are so many other smart glasses solutions that are coming to market, and also seeing the enthusiasm from blind communities out there, I think it's something that we're definitely keeping our eyes on. Sort of looking at also where artificial intelligence can take us. Right now, we've got sort of our sensors that we know that we need. But there's other technology that we could then incorporate on top of that, and I think that's a very exciting evolution that we're seeing now.
Nathan, thank you so much for taking the time to update us. We cannot wait to have you on. A standing invitation is yours to let us know when the glasses are available, and we're happy to share that with our audience when that happens, hopefully later this year, if not early 2025.
Thanks so much. Great to be here again.
Coming up, an organization whose mission is to promote disability awareness and accessibility worldwide. Kat Zigmont is here from the World Institute of Disability on our CES special edition of Access Tech Live.
This is Access Tech Live, CES Special. Follow us on social media at Access Tech Live. We'll be right back. Now, back to Access Tech Live, a CES Special. The latest in tech and accessibility with Stephen Scott and Marc Aflalo.
And we're back on our first of two CES specials. The second airs live tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern, right here on AMI TV, AMI Plus, YouTube, and anywhere else you can find us. Now, we are so pleased to welcome our next guest to the show. She is the Director of Operations and Deputy Director at the World Institute of Disability. Kat Zigmont, thank you so much for joining us today on the program. Tell us what you do there.
Absolutely. So the World Institute on Disability is a disability-led organization for over 40 years now. And we focus in global community inclusion, disaster response, in lots of countries, as well as assistive technology and accessibility and universal design. So at WID, I lead our accessibility division, which does user experience testing, focus groups, all kinds of research on different types of technologies that can help people with disabilities live independently in their homes. And we work with a lot of large corporate organizations who are trying to make their products accessible, their gaming products or their other types of technology. And we test it directly with the disability community on a regular basis. So I oversee that work and actually really understand the utilization of technology to live independently as a person with a disability across the world.
Kat, that's a pretty intense mission, especially as an organization that really has no borders. What do you get out of a CES show? When you come to CES, is it about networking with companies that you already work with? Is it about discovering new companies that could maybe use your services? What's the goal when you come to a show like this?
That's a really great question. I really enjoy CES because I scan the floors and I really look for products with disability applicability. So obviously there's a lot of really cool tech that's being developed specifically for people with disabilities, like augmented reality captions. That's a really cool one I saw yesterday. But there's also tech like a baby carriage that sort of moves on its own. And I talked to that booth about the applicability for wheelchair users who might have a little trouble rolling their wheelchair and pushing a carriage at the same time. And something like an automated carriage is really something that could help a parent with a disability live more independently. So I look through the floor for all kinds of technology that could help the disability community as assistive tech, where the builders might not really understand that market opportunity and that applicability for the disability community. So it's really fun to discover new technologies and really connect those dots.
Yeah, no, that's super cool, especially when you think of a company who's designing a product for one purpose and doesn't realize, hey, wait a second, there's a whole other market, there's a whole other benefit to what we're doing here. When you approach companies like that, let's use the baby carriage or stroller for example, do you find them receptive? Is it something that you're trying to convince them, or is it like an educational element? What do you find how do you find they receive you?
Yeah, both actually. So when I spoke to the people at the booth with the baby carriage, they actually said that that was a use case that they had seen before and that they would like to know more about how someone in a wheelchair would utilize their product, which is where we can help them out. I have also approached someone in past years, for example, it was a mouse band that you put around your hand and you double click or swipe with an arm motion. And I talked to them about, oh, this could be applicable to quadriplegics who have curled fingers and can't use the mouse, but could totally use this as a mouse. And I got a lot of resistance. Oh, this product is for gamers and not for them. So I get the spectrum, but the truth is, if a product is applicable, you really want to help the person understand the market ability of that. And so I try to connect with them later on. When it comes to the big boxes, I go to Samsung and LG and all of the big boxes too. They have all kinds of accessibility features, and for them, I might push a little harder because they have the resources to really make those accessibility features extremely robust, right? And so, I take a different approach depending on if it's a small startup or if it's a big box with a big budget.
Kat, there's another angle here, which of course is price, right? If you're buying product, if you're looking to buy a product as a disabled person, the cost of products built specifically for our needs can be incredibly expensive, way more expensive than mainstream alternatives. So what a fantastic thing to look for products that, as you say, are disability applicable or disability adjacent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. Price is a big issue. And when people come to CES, they're usually, or the startups anyways, are usually on the beginning of the journey and have that big price and really need the distribution and the quantity of buyers in order to bring that price down. You see that a lot in the hearables. Hearables were just passed by the FCC and they've been here a while. Their price point is way lower than hearing aids, but really still way higher than the disability community can often afford. And so the other piece of that is helping the disability community understand exactly who this product is for, and get them to start purchasing and buying so that the cost can come down. But you're absolutely right. There is a barrier to entry for these emerging technologies, which is a shame because some of them can be transformative.
How do you take the experiences that you have today at CES, for example, and turn that into something in a year from now and 2 years from now? Is it something you find that's easy, or is it just it's constant work in progress?
That's a really great question. I definitely think it's a work in progress. There are certain companies that I met here at CES that I've been working with for several years. This is a great company called Voice It, who's working on an AI to help people with dysarthric speech use smart technology, right? So Alexa can understand most voices, but not people with deaf accents or CP accents, for example. And so I'm helping collect those voices in order to improve that product and improve the ability for folks to, utilize the technologies in their home. But it's been a long journey of applying for grants to do this work, continuing the conversation, building partnerships. So, I met them 2 years ago and, have walked alongside their journey, which has been
Kat, sorry,
really
I gotta cut you off just because we're live, but congratulations on all the work that you do. We're going to continue this conversation off the air and have you back on.
Great.
But thank you for tuning in today and being with us. We're back tomorrow, noon Eastern. Thanks to Tim and Dave over at CES. We'll be back tomorrow.
Thanks for tuning in to Access Tech Live. Follow us online on all social media at Access Tech Live. Email us feedback@accesstechlive.com. Hosted by Stephen Scott in Glasgow and Marc Aflalo in Montreal. Written by Stephen Scott and Marc Aflalo. Producer, Marc Aflalo. Live show director, Anastasia Spalding-Stenhouse. Technical director, Caitlin Robinson. Audio, Jordan Mulgrave. Live graphics and playback, Kingsley Juco. Graphics coordinator, Eliza Rocco. Post-production and graphics, Jordan Steves. Social media, Wendy Kaufman. Voiceovers, Jeff Carter. Integrated described video specialist, M. Williams. Supervising producer, Michelle Dudas. Manager of Operations, Kyle Harper. Manager Programming, AMI TV, Lisanne Gagne. Director, Content Development and Production, Kara Nye. VP Content Development and Programming, John Melville. President and CEO, David Arrington. Produced in collaboration with Aflalo Communications Inc. and Double Tap Productions. Copyright 2024, Accessible Media Inc.
An AMI original production.